To clarify one thing, I don't prescribe necessarily to all the ideals of the radical left. I actually think there's kind of a schism in the radical left about some things some of us agree with and don't agree with. For example, I am in support of Second Amendment rights, but at the same time, I'm also in support of gun control because of the reason that I don't think there's any reason safe somebody who hasn't threatened a bunch of public schools shouldn't be able to own a gun, especially in a time when military and police are becoming more and more fascist and more powerful, more and more militarized. I think it's important that ordinary people can match up in arms, can match their power with them, which is what the Second Amendment was created for. However, I don't think someone like Nicholas Cruz, who is prior to his shooting, has sent a bunch of threats toward public schools and has on the FBI watch list, should be able to buy a gun. I don't think that should be a thing.
And how do you think they could implement something like that?
That's something I've thought a lot about myself. And honestly, I don't have a complete answer for that. I just don't. But all I know is that we can't have people who have threatened to shoot up nightclubs, schools, or whatever, or who are clearly a danger to other people to own guns. I think people like you and me, people who aren't extremists who are gonna do that, don't have a record of that kind of thing, should be able to own a gun. But I don't think people who have said that they fucking hate the queers and wish they would all fucking die, and you know what, I might fucking do it at a club soon, someone like that, no. Absolutely not. And I think that basically there should be background checks. I think background checks at gun fairs and stores is important because a lot of the loopholes that people are concerned about is that at gun fairs, people can just buy whatever fucking gun they want. I think by having mandatory background checks, just to see if this person has made any crazy threats, is necessary. If the person hasn't made any crazy threats, which is probably the majority of the US population, then they should be able to go. But for example, the Nazis that rioted at fucking Charlottesville and ran over that woman, I don't think they should be allowed to have guns.
But after what you saw today, with the police, they were grabbing citizens. Do you think that can escalate to a war between citizens and the people?
People?
Cops versus the people?
Yes, and actually I fucking hope it does. I hope there's a fucking class war. And things are only going to continue like this if there isn't one.
But wouldn't any gun control be bad in that sense?
I don't think so. Like I said, the majority of the population hasn't made direct threats toward any specific group of people or any place or anything.
So your version of gun control is just for people who make threats?
Yeah, fucking common sense. If someone says they wish they could if someone says publicly that if I was fucking had a gun, I would go into a nightclub where a bunch of queers are and kill them all. Yeah. No! I don't think that person should have a gun. No! But how many people say that kind of thing? If you're not a psychopath, you won't say that kind of thing. So, the majority of people, yes, should be able to have guns.
What would you say to the people who say gun control only takes guns away from legal the non-criminal?
The non-criminal?
Yeah. Let me try to rephrase that.
No, I think I see what you're saying, but I think I just kind of answered that question.
No,
I think I kind of said that, at gun fairs and, gun fairs and gun stores, if we just have a 5-day background check, no one's made any psychotic threats, let them have a fucking gun. None of my fucking business. That's their right.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure if you haven't made any psychotic threats and then you can own a gun, then that doesn't target anybody who's a bad person.
Can you elaborate more on the war between the people versus the cops?
Okay. I'm getting tired.
Oh, we could end it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll do this last one.
Okay.
So
you got good answers, sorry.
Thank you, no problem. So basically, the police actually have their roots in slave catching. If you look at the sheriff's badge, the modern sheriff's badge, and you look at a slave catcher's badge for people that were in charge of catching slaves that they tried to run away, they are very, very similar. They're rooted in the same thing. The culture of racism, the culture of covering shit up, the sort of mafia-like tendencies that the police tend to have all over the country is systemic. It's systemically ingrained into the system. That's our problem. This, like Harry Anslinger, for example, made made weed illegal because he didn't because he wanted to raise, his funding was going to get cut. He needed to make something illegal. He wanted to go after black people in some kind of way. What do black people like? Weed. So he made weed illegal. If you look it up, Harry Anslinger, he's the one who made the modern marijuana laws. And then for like the rest of the fucking decade, and then until basically even now, people have been arrested for having a fucking plant, a harmless fucking plant. And despite black people making up a tiny fraction of the population of this country, they make up the huge majority of people in prison for marijuana in prisons. Nixon himself even said, Nixon's aide, what's his name? John Elrickman, I believe. John Elrickman even said, we knew we couldn't, disrupt their meetings. Like, we knew we couldn't arrest people for being against the war or black, but we could, by criminalizing marijuana and associating them with black people, we could raid their homes, disrupt their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Who did they use to enact those type of actions? The police. The police are the fucking arm of capitalism and this corrupt-ass government. They're the ones who enforce these laws. It's good cops that evict people from their homes. It's good cops who ruin people's lives over a plant. It's good cops who criminalize someone who can't pay $275 to get into work.
So, in other words, there are no good cops?
No. All cops are fucking, as part of their job, are forced to enforce bad fucking laws that hurt people who are innocent. Just because something's legal doesn't mean it goes within the boundaries of morality. The Holocaust was legal. Anne Frank's capturers, they were doing what's legal. The people who hid her were doing what was illegal. That's just one example of how legality doesn't necessarily equal morality. And so because of the fact that all these fucking cops in the city, we all know they have a quota system. We all know that they have a system where they have to make a certain amount of rounds to get a raise or a promotion. You don't think it's going to cause them to maybe make problems where there aren't any? Look at Eric Gardner. The guy was fucking choked to death. Wasn't a threat to anybody. His hands up. They illegally choked him to death over a cigarette that he didn't even sell. Mm-hmm. And then the guy who recorded it just mystically happened to go to prison like a week after and has stayed there since. They're the mafia. They act like a gang. They operate like a gang. If they have to fucking evict people from their homes, ruining people's lives over a plant, and so many fucked up laws that they enforce, then that means that the police institution in of itself is a corrupt fucking system that we don't fucking need. I think what we need to do is we need to abolish NYPD and start from the fucking ground up. I don't think we shouldn't have police. I'm saying I think police should be democratically elected. I don't think anybody should be able, because the amount of fucking little training, the tiny little amount of training that these cops need to patrol these streets is ludicrous. It is ludicrous. Our cops serve us, we pay them to serve us. So why the fuck shouldn't they be democratically elected by the neighborhoods that they're in to serve those neighborhoods?
Like community policing, right? Exactly.
Mm-hmm. We protect ourselves, not these people who fucking come That's another thing I want to also explain too, is that if you look at Ferguson, for example, if you look at Ferguson, Missouri, if you look at how the Mike Brown shit went down and everything, most of the cops in an all-black city are white, and they also don't live in the city that they serve. They are from the outer boroughs of those cities, the suburbs, which are all white, and they grow up their entire lives only knowing people that look like them. So then when you go into the police force and get deployed to a place like Ferguson and you get told, watch out, there's going to be a lot of danger, you're not going to think the dangers of people that look like you. You're going to think the dangers of people who don't look like you. And that creates a culture of fear toward black people. So my point is that police should be community members, they should be elected by the community, and actually serve the community, not protect profits, not protect industry, not protect these fucking dumbass billionaires sitting like fucking dragons on top of their piles of gold.
Yes, fascism is strong.
I have little hope we can overcome it, but things like what just happened today do give me hope. Yeah,
I do too.
They do.
Thank you.
No problem. It was a pleasure meeting you.